welcome to you. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. The presidency has assured all citizens that as a government, the administration is on top of events and is moving ahead with force to crush the perpetrators of the recent incidents of unrest in Plateau State. Let's see that.
A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the presidency says to achieve success, communities in Plateau State must unite against these horrific attacks. While these troubled communities are being reinforced with security personnel, religious, traditional and other community leaders must not allow the use of their spaces for the propagation and incitement to violence. It is important for both Nigerians and the international community to appreciate that there are a multitude of factors attendant to these troubles. There is Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorism, as well as the spate of kidnappings for ransom, transformed by some misinformed global media into a Muslim and Christian threat. Yet, in reality, there are no religious connotations at all. Similarly, the presidency cited the harder farmer clashes, saying while international voices and some Nigerian politicians who seek personal gain from division declare this a matter of religion, it is almost entirely a matter of access to water and land. Herders have moved their cattle into contact with farmers for millennia, but increasingly due to population pressure, escalating aridity of northern states and climate change, they are forced to travel further south to find grazing lands. Then in the southeast, the proscribed IPOP are not struggling for freedom when they attack police stations and property, but rather committing acts of terrorism in order to steal money. IPOP, the presidency said, is not defending Christians as their highly paid foreign lobbyists claim, when almost every citizen of those states they terrorize is uniformly Christian. As for Nigerians, what is needed, the presidency said, is coming together by casting asunder to those who seek to divide the country for their own nefarious acts.
Plateau State Governor Simon Bakola Long has spoken to the people of the state on the recent disturbances in the state. He says from engagement so far, it has again become clear that the attacks are purely criminal activities that must be treated as such, even though they are quickly given ethno-religious connotations. The governor noted that there is no justification for the killing of anyone, no matter the grievance, as the society is guided by laws.
Events of the recent past have cast a dark shadow on the progress and the huge investments we have made in peace building and crime fighting within the last 6 years.
Governor Lalong, who met with President Muhammadu Buhari to seek more deployment of security forces, will stop at nothing to apprehend all the fleeing suspects behind the attacks. While appreciating the media for good reportage, Governor Lalong commended the people of conscience across different faith, ethnic, political backgrounds that have remained objective, dispassionate and resolute towards condemning the criminal actions of the attackers and offering useful suggestions to government on ways to improve public safety. The governor also commended his Kebbi State counterpart, Governor Atiku Abubakar Bagudu, who led a delegation of the Progressives Governors Forum to commiserate with the state and make donations to victims.
Facilities. As a result of these occurrences, I convened a high-level stakeholders meeting where traditional, political, community and religious leaders gathered to brainstorm on how to bring an end to this cycle of violence.
The state government, he said, has relaxed the curfew in Jos North and Jos South. From this Monday, the curfew shall be enforced from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. until further notice, while the ban on tricycles and hawkers remains in force within Jos Bukuru Metropolis. Well, for an update on peace on the Plateau, let's join Zenret in Jos for that. Zenret?
Ruth, thanks for joining us in Jos. Socio-economic activities are picking up in Jos Metropolis following the review of the 24-hour curfew by the Plateau State government. Bilkisu Nuhu has a situation report. Ahmadu Bello Way, popularly known as Terminus, the business nerve center of Jos City, a few days ago was a shadow of itself due to the 24-hour curfew imposed on Jos North local government area following recent attacks in some communities, which led to the destruction of lives and property. In view of the relative peace, Governor Simon Lalong, in a state broadcast, relaxed the curfew from dusk to dawn in Jos North. The effect was immediate as socio-economic activities picked up.
Our long-term goal is to foster dialogue, collaboration, understanding, and proactive dispute resolution mechanisms that will make it difficult for people to resort to criminality in the name of self-help and reprisals whenever there is any disagreement.
Some residents thanked the state government for relaxing the curfew.
I feel happy and relaxed because at least someone will go out and look for something to help himself.
We feel good. Because when I heard that the governor has said they released the coffee, so I feel very happy.
There should be more understanding between the people of Plateau so that there will be no more crisis and stuff like that.
At the Plateau State Specialist Hospital, there's influx of patients seeking medical attention.
Before now, the GOPD, the SOPD, the casualty, when I came this morning, the whole place was filled up.
Meanwhile, the ban on tricycle and hawkers remains in force. In Jos, Nuhu, NTA News. Meanwhile, Plateau government has resolved to erect a police post at Yelwa Zangam community in Jos North local government area with immediate effect to safeguard lives and property in the area. Governor Simon Lalong gave this indication during his visit to the community in the aftermath of the attack that claimed many lives. Priscilla Grumnan has details.
Following attacks at the Yelwazangam community in Jos North local government area a few days ago, where more than 30 lives were lost, the governor, members of his cabinet and the joint security team in the state visited the community to commiserate with them. Governor Lalong expresses sadness over the unfortunate incident as he vows that perpetrators of the heinous crimes will be tracked and prosecuted.
They are mobilizing more people. I thank God that they are also mobilizing federal, relief materials both from federal and state. And I assure you, those whose stocks were destroyed, the deputy governor will be back again with the relief materials to distribute to all of you.
The Uja Anaguta, President Anaguta Community Development Association and representative of the affected families, thanked the government for coming to identify with them in their trying period and called for concerted efforts of stakeholders towards the protection of lives and property.
We really appreciate the swift intervention of the government when we were attacked. The Governor Lalong is a lover of it's a lover of Jos North, it's a lover of Plateau. We continue to encourage him, we continue to stand with him.
The governor inspected the house of the district head where the attacks were said to have started, as well as the only bridge linking the community, which was said to have been vandalized by the attackers. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thank you, Zanwert. And still staying in Jos, the Plateau State government has denied the allegations by the Speaker of the State House of Assembly that the complex has been sealed this Monday. The State Commissioner for Information, Dan Manjang, in a statement says the governor, as the longest-serving speaker in the state and the first to give autonomy to the legislature, understands the principle of separation of power in a democratic system and will therefore not do anything contrary. The elders and stakeholders of Pangshan local government area, Plateau State, arose from its regular meeting on Saturday, acknowledging Governor Simon Baku Lalong and all the security agencies for the efforts made to ensure security on the plateau. A statement made available to the media, the elders and stakeholders condemned what it called unjustifiable attacks on lives and property in the state, while acknowledging the impact of the State Inter-Religious Council and the 5 years roadmap to peace and security in several other initiatives. The meeting expressed concern over the content of the Plateau State House of Assembly press conference on Thursday, 27th August 2021. It said the legislature arm should not be seen to be assuming the position of the executive by giving directives to local government chairmen to recruit vigilantes and giving the governor ultimatum to take action on certain motions of the House constitutionally advisory. The Pangshan local government area elders and stakeholders prayed for return of peace on the plateau and urged everyone to support the efforts of the governor. The federal government says it will continue to implement the Economic Sustainability Plan amongst other programs in a bid to sustain upward trend in the country's latest gross domestic product. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed said this at a briefing in Abuja. The finance minister attributed the 5.01% second quarter 2021 growth to the various interventions by the federal government, explaining that it's a process and the impact will gradually be felt by the citizenry.
Impact on the lives of the citizens until we get to a growth rate that is significantly larger than the birth rate, we call it the population rate, the impact will not be felt by every Nigerian. But you will begin to see the impact on industry, on services, and what that means is there will be more employment to reduce the unemployment levels, and there will be more consumption levels will increase because there will be more funds in the hands of people. It's a gradual process, and we will reach our growth aspirations. And
with the medium-term national development plan, the projection is to have about a minimum of 7% growth rate. That's what we are pursuing. But there are a number of reforms that needs to take place in the economy for us to maintain sustainable growth.
In a related development, the third consecutive quarter of positive growth of Nigeria's economy is an indication that the nation's economic sustainability plan is on the right track and should be sustained. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, who made this position, believe the growth can be maintained with an enabling and secured business environment supported by tax incentives. Let's hear more from Joseph Otsen.
Insecurity and the COVID-19 pandemic took its toll on Nigeria's economy, dragging it to a negative growth rate of minus 6.1% in 2020. The second quarter 2021 GDP growth of 5.1% reported by the Nigeria Bureau for Statistics is, however, described by guests on Good Morning Nigeria as ray of hope and reawakening if driven by positive policies.
About 42 activity sectors achieved positive growth compared to only 23 in the first quarter. So economic activities are gradually reviving.
I think there are a lot of initiatives, the gas initiative, the infrastructure initiative, the economic sustainability plan should be implemented in such a way that there should be positive development. We need quantum leap in this country.
The economic growth, which the guests say is, however, not reflecting on the well-being of the citizen due to high inflation, can be improved on with increased output in the agricultural and manufacturing sectors, as well as better tax and foreign exchange policies.
Inflation rate has remained sticky downwards, and you have rising unemployment. These two contribute to the misery index, rising poverty levels. Then, no matter the figure you get as GDP, it's not going to connect.
And also need a much better foreign exchange environment to encourage inflows into this economy.
With enabling environment and policy sustainability, the guests are optimistic the country will achieve its target of 2.9% by 2022. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
All right, let's go on a break, and when we return, we'll be joining Kende in Lagos to pick up from where we left it. Stay tuned.
join us in Lagos. The sighting of a 1,000-capacity container terminal in a densely populated area in Lagos is inducing fear and uncertainty on the minds of residents who are already battling with the challenges of cohabiting with more than 12 tank farms. Marco Olale was at Satellite Town and now reports.
Liverpool Estate in Satellite Town has a new neighbor. It is a container terminal right inside the bend and corner of a residential area. The first curiosity was the possibility of a container-laden truck to navigate within these environments. But not quite long, I was met with surprises. It is a horrible sight to behold for Amara Ifeanyi, and she shared parts of the traumatizing experiences witnessed every day.
That sharp bending is where we're having an issue now. A tanker was coming and another one was bending, and there was a bike carrying a child going. And so it was just by God's grace, it was averted because the child and the person carrying the child had to jump down from the bike quickly.
The tales of havoc wreaked by trucks on major expressway is always fresh in the mind of Helen Babajide, and she cannot just imagine the timing bomb the community is sitting on.
We cannot sleep. There are vibrations. You know, you are sleeping and you are wondering, is your house going to collapse?
It's a kind of human-based developmental programs. If you are talking of commercial center, heavy commercial investments, take these investments to where they belong.
The situation at Satellite Town is like occupying the thin line between the devil and the deep blue sea, due to the presence of tank farms within the corridor. But the starting points to ameliorating their challenges, according to residents, should include the removal of infrastructure threatening their lives. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
The Delta variant is spreading rapidly across borders, threatening to accelerate the domino effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. This highly contagious SARS-CoV-2 strain is now the dominant form, and Inginu Jimnadam examines the extent of its presence in Lagos.
The Delta variant, according to recent research, targets the younger population, unlike previous strains.
The workforce will be challenged because this younger population are the workforce of the country, and then the economy will take a batter.
This development poses a huge setback to the progress achieved in the fight against the pandemic. In Lagos, the third surge, dominated by the Delta strain, has already claimed more than 135 lives. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu recently disclosed that positivity rate has increased to 12.1% in the past weeks, compared to 7% recorded at the end of July.
As long as transmission continues to persist among the general populace, so as much as we will expect the virus to mutate to form a new kind of variant.
Medical experts recommend that, in addition to familiar preventive protocols, individuals must be acquainted with how the variant presents.
People who have these particular variants, they present with, sort of cold and cough symptoms, headache, and, fever. Some people have fever. So it just looks more like somebody's had a flu.
As Nigerians stay optimistic about a return to normalcy, experts advise that vaccination and utmost compliance with preventive measures are in order to get the country out of the woods. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Lagos at this hour. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thank you, Kende. Family and friends of Senator representing KB South constituency of KB State, Senator Bala Ibn Na'Allah, are yet to overcome the shock of the gruesome murder of Captain Abdukarim Bala Ibn Na'Allah by assailants. Haruna Mohammed says the family has been receiving scores of sympathizers in Kaduna over the incident.
Among the early callers are Representative Kabiru Tukura of the House of Representatives and other sympathizers from Kaduna, KB and various parts of the country. They described late Abdul Karim as a gentle, hardworking and likable personality.
It's ugly, it's sad and it's very unfortunate. All we could say is may Allah have mercy on Abdul Karim's soul, may Allah accept him.
He's very loyal to his parents and relatives and friends.
Very terrifying,
very painful. All of us are saddened by this development.
It's really sad. It's really sad. Very terrible. Because I cannot resist the call when I heard the news of what happened. But whatever that may have happened, we took it that is what God has destined.
Meanwhile, Kaduna State Police Command has launched full investigation to unravel the circumstances surrounding the incidents with a view to bringing the perpetrators to book. Late Abdul Karim Ibn Na'ala, aged 36, is the eldest son of Senator Bala Ibn Na'ala representing KB South Senatorial Zone. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
The Ministry of Labour and Employment says the 21-day ultimatum given to the federal government by the Nigerian Medical Association is in direct collision with the Memorandum of Action with the timeline in Article 2, 7, 8 and 10 of the MOA signed on August 21, 2021. A statement by the spokesman of the ministry, Charles Akpan, says the federal government is religiously implementing its own side of the agreement, but till now, both NARD Postgraduate Medical College are yet to submit the validated application for the eligible doctors missed out in 2020 to enable payment. Also is Article 7 on withdrawal of the circular from the Office of the Head of Service, removing House and NYSC doctors from the scheme of service, says the NMA should submit her position immediately to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Health, for onward transmission to the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, with a view to processing and issuance of clarification circular within 2 months. The NMA is yet to comply with this, it added. Similarly, the technical committee set up in Article 7 to tackle the backlog of arrears on GISMES was given 4 weeks effective Monday, August 30, 2021 to round off its assignment. Is this not on collision with the 21-day ultimatum it's asking? It is therefore clear that the 21-day ultimatum will neither assist the NMA discharge the role assigned to it in the MOU nor facilitates the faithful implementation of the timeline which the federal government has given every attention. The need to eliminate livestock rustling and related criminalities, as well as general sensitization on the rollout of the National Animal Identification and Traceability System in the Southeast Zone, took the center stage in a one-day workshop organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in collaboration with Megacorps, Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, and other relevant stakeholders in the livestock sector. Let's get more details from Yukera Ugu.
The National Animal Identification and Traceability System, NET, is the policy of identifying and tracking livestock by using forgery-proof ear tags and cattle passports in accordance with the world best practices. The scheme the stakeholders see as a problem-solving mechanism that will improve the safety of herds of cattle, as well as detecting the cross-border intruders that portend security risks to the animal rearing occupation.
We are talking about a cow. Cow is very important. In order to prove that.
Next is to ensure the identification and tracing of all livestock in Nigeria with the objective of obtaining reliable data for livestock planning and management, transparency in revenue generation, security management, and conflict prevention. The Southeast and Enugu State Traditional Rulers Council, accepting the initiative, noted that cattle rearing and ranching ought to be treated as strict private business that can contribute to the growth of the national economy. They maintain that ranching will not only make Nigeria self-sufficient in dairy products, but a net exporter of cow milk and other dairy products to other parts of the world.
Out of the address, I may say that our governors have taken position on issues of cattle raising, and we do not intend to contradict what they have said.
High point was the question and answer session where headers were giving more clarifications. In Enugu, Ikeria Ugu, NTA News.
Our next stop will be Benin as we join Ugochukwu to bring us the next set of reports.
Ruth, good afternoon. The federal government is taking further steps to boost agricultural production by encouraging farmers to cultivate healthy seeds for improved harvest. To this end, the National Agricultural Seeds Council, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, has been sensitizing farmers in Ekiti State as well as enforcing the sales of healthy seeds. Ayodeji Ogunshaki reports.
Over the years, farmers have been confronting the challenge of poor harvest due to several factors, which in many cases are occasioned by planting of poor and non-healthy seedlings, mostly procured by farmers, a situation that has been having effect on food sufficiency. As a means of changing the narrative, the National Agricultural Seed Council of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is building market-driven seed industry for the production and distribution of high-quality and improved farming input. Hence, desensitization and enforcement to weed out unhealthy seeds and seedlings from authorized seed dealers and agro shops in Ekiti State.
We found out that what is common among those that contravene the law is selling seed in open container and repackaging, which the law frown at. And in the course of the exercise, any recalcitrant seed dealers are adequately punished in line with the law. The motive is to ensure that all fake and adulterated seed in the market are removed.
Farmers were cautioned to avoid buying and planting unhealthy seeds, which could hinder bumper harvest and food security. From Adekiti, Ayodeji Ogunshaki, NTA News.
And now, judicial matters. More than 10 sexual assault cases, especially rape, are being prosecuted in courts under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition (VAP) law in Edo State. Stakeholders say it is a game changer in the fight against rape and rapists, providing stiffer penalties for offenders. Agatha Egwarojo has details.
During the COVID-19 lockdown last year, Nigeria witnessed an increase in gender-based violence, especially rape cases. Edo State was not an exception. The rape and murder of a 100-level student of University of Benin, Vera Waila Omozua, sparked public outrage and calls for an end to the menace. The situation led to the birthing of the VAP law. To ensure implementation, wife of the governor, the deputy governor and his wife have been attending hearings in magistrate court of the trial of a 55-year-old Michael Ugoke for defiling a 7-year-old. It is to make a statement.
Every rape and gender-based violence case in the states, regardless, and let me sound a warning, whoever it is, whether it's a big man or a pauper, they will face the full weight of the law.
FIDA chairperson explains the provisions of the law and penalties, especially as it concerns rape.
Even trying to rape somebody, it's a criminal offense, and that goes with the punishment for about 12 years. Then if the person is 14 years of age, the least offense that person can get, that's the perpetrator, not the victim, the least punishment that person would get if found guilty is also a 12-year sentence. For those, then rape simpliciter, that just rape is life imprisonment.
She says it is no longer business as usual, and victims can simply walk into any police station or office with government presence to get help. In Benin, Agatha Egwarojo, NTA News.
We're now taking a break, and thereafter, Abubakar will come up with more reports from Maiduguri.
Thanks for staying with the Nigerian Television Authority up to this moment on Nationwide, and this is NTA Maiduguri Zonal Network Center. One-day meeting of critical stakeholders on the recent development in the security situation of Borno State has ended in the state capital with far-reaching recommendations on ways to approach the current wave of mass surrender by the repentant insurgents. The meeting, chaired by Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, was convened to come up with a bottom-top decision that will be acceptable to all stakeholders of security situation in the state. Mohammed Goni completes the story.
The current wave of mass surrender by members of the insurgents necessitated the one-day interactive meeting, which brought together stakeholders from all walks of life to brainstorm and offer viable and pragmatic as well as all-inclusive approach that will cater for all issues and concerns raised over the surrender.
I want to listen to the general public, to the generality of people of Borno State. What is your own view? Because the decision has to be a collective one. The situation requires diverse stakeholders, including representatives of our attack community, to come together and critically review the plans, pros, cons, and implications of the surrender in order to agree on a framework that is well taught.
Representative of all stakeholders from the national and state assemblies, traditional institutions led by the Shehu of Borno, security formation that include the military, police and Department of State Security, Borno elders, teams of the insurgency, the academia represented by Vice Chancellors of University of Maiduguri and Borno State University, ulamas, Christian community, Interparty Advisory Council, labor, civil society groups, Nigerian Union of Journalists, the Nigeria Bar Association, as well as National Council of Women's Society, have unanimously welcomed the surrender of the insurgents.
We in the National Assembly are ready to give all the necessary support that will enable us to bring this ugly situation to an end amicably.
We get it right here. We all know that North Central, Northeast, and other parts of the country will equally know peace.
The 16-point communique issued at the end of the broad-based meeting, as read by the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Kakasha Ulan, appreciated President Muhammadu Buhari towards ending the insurgency and other criminalities in Borno and other parts of the country.
The meeting appreciates the support of the federal government to the state, but however solicited for more funding from the federal government to the state.
The stakeholders stressed need for proper profiling of the repentant Boko Haram insurgents to avoid hasty release of hardened elements into the society. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Reviving and strengthening developmental relationships with bordering communities takes center stage as National Boundary Commission, in collaboration with Borno State Boundary Committee, engaged stakeholders for a 3-day interactive session. Jadwa John Jesney reports that Governor Babagana Umar Zulum declared the session opened at the multipurpose hall of the Government House, Maiduguri.
Borno State, which shares borders with 3 countries of Chad, Cameroon and Niger Republic, suffered great devastation by Boko Haram insurgency, which affected various socio-economic activities at the borders. 10 local government areas across the state whose borders contribute significantly to the growth and development of the state and nation has been identified by the Boundary Commission. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, represented by Chairman, Borno State Boundary Commission, Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, described the engagement as timely, calling on the National Boundary Commission to ensure even distribution of resources to communities in need, as government will strive to ensure that the policies of the Commission are being implemented for the good of the state.
And call upon the federal government to expedite action on the new immigration policies to ease cross-border movement between Nigeria and her neighbors.
Representative of Director General, National Boundary Commission, Dr. Hamza Aliu Dan Agalan, and Vice Chairman, Borno State Boundary Commission, Engineer Mohammed Kabir Wanuri, called for peaceful coexistence in border communities so as to bridge the gap created by the conflict in a short time.
The border policy is the only requirement that remains for Nigeria to access key, huge financial resources put aside by the African Union border program.
Chairman Goza Local Government Professor Ibrahim Bula Mabukar had, on behalf of the border communities, identified provision of adequate security as well as basic necessities of life to reduce porosity of national borders and also restore livelihood and other activities in the area for national development. Representatives of traditional institutions, military and other speakers at the event expressed optimism that the session will give room for suggestions on how best to ensure that the border communities are well secured, adequately catered for, to contribute to fostering international relationships between Nigeria and neighboring countries. In Maiduguri, Jadwa John Jesney, NTA News.
And those are the latest stories at this time from Maiduguri. Ruth in Abuja has the next set of reports for us. So, Ruth.
Thank you, Abubakar. Following the recent spate of conflicting ex parte orders of some courts over some political matters, the Chief Justice of Nigeria has summoned the heads of courts concerned. Femi Okewo has the story.
The Nigerian Television Authority can exclusively confirm that the Chief Justice of Nigeria and Chairman of the National Judicial Council, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, has shown concern over the series of conflicting and contradictory ex parte orders of courts on some political leadership matters, which have resulted in embarrassing the nation's judiciary. The summons went to the Chief Judges of Jigawa, Rivers, Kebbi, Anambra, and Cross River States judiciaries for an emergency meeting to brief the Chief Justice of Nigeria on the incessant granting of conflicting ex parte applications by courts of coordinate jurisdiction. The CJN's letter of summons said that an explanation is even more compelling having regard to the earlier NJC's warning to judicial officers to be circumspect in granting ex parte applications. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
The federal government has flagged off disbursement of 5,000 naira monthly stipends to 10,000 poor and vulnerable households in Ogun State under its conditional cash transfer program. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Haji Sadia Umar Farouk, says the initiative intends to increase access to financial capital required for economic activities among the beneficiaries. Lekon Agbonde reports.
Minister, who was represented, said the conditional cash transfer program is designed by the federal government to uplift the socio-economic status of the less privileged. She said the program, no doubt, has impacted positively on the quality of life and rural economy, especially among the poor and vulnerable households. The beneficiaries say the grant will go a long way to improve their livelihood and businesses.
They gave us the money that we did not work for freely. It shall be well with them. We are very happy with what they have done for us. I will use the money to improve my trade.
I surely use the money to pay those who make wages for me in my farm, and I expect more yield in my farm thereafter.
Ogun State government, while appreciating the federal government for the inclusion of the state in the program, said the state government is also committed to improving economic potentials of vulnerable households for self-sufficiency.
These two programs now, conditional cash transfer and JIP, Ogun State people will start benefiting.
According to the minister, the initiative, since inception in 2016, has succeeded in taking millions of poor and vulnerable Nigerians out of poverty. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Nigeria should implement homegrown development templates, taking into account culture and peculiar traditional realities instead of dependence on foreign solutions that are far from realities. Now, this was part of the 20-point highlights at the 4th edition of the second National Leadership Dialogue Series of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership. Haman Jabani reports.
The 4th edition of the second National Dialogue Series looks at the theme, Reworking the Economy, Growing the Private Sector Through Youth Inclusion. The private sector development is believed to provide a range of strategies aimed at establishing markets that function vibrantly and firmly, provide economic opportunities of quality to people on a large scale. Key players are of the opinion that with the over 72 million Nigerians being youth, with their energy and youthfulness, if properly harnessed, the Nigerian economy will be greater. Panelists at the 4th editions agree that the growth of the country is more in the hands of the private sector. There should be access to finance, inclusive business, small enterprises development, and business environment reform, among other reforms.
For the first time in the last 10 years, the GDP of Nigeria has risen from the usual 1.22 points to 5%. And that is a breakthrough.
It is time for governments at every level, for the private sector, the big groups, to handwork young men and women into industry.
And the world out there today has gone beyond just book. What they want is what you can do, what they can see.
Others call for the placement of greater emphasis on addressing infrastructure deficiencies and investment policies. They also identify agribusiness, manufacturing, and digital entrepreneurship as high potential sectors that can speed economic development and job creation in Africa's largest economy.
It is time to restructure our mindsets as Nigerians, rethink our development initiative to reinvent our nationhood so that Nigeria can take its place.
The dialogue agreed that there is hope for Nigeria with input pressure in the right direction, a decline in mismanagement of resources, and innovation and creativity that is geared towards productivity across all levels. The dialogue also advocated less emphasis on certificate, less than 5% interest on loans, and youth should begin their involvement at the local government level to put the country right on track for economic development. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Leaders of the All Progressives Congress in Benue State have called on Governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, to publicly apologize to President Muhammadu Buhari. The Minister of Special Duties and former Governor of Benue State, George Akume, who led APC stakeholders at a press briefing, called on the President to declare a state of emergency in Benue State due to the security situation there. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
The APC group says this follows the current security situation in the state and the utterances of Governor Samuel Ortom, who has been reported making uncomplimentary remarks against the president. The stakeholders at this briefing said this is not the time to sit on the fence and stated their position with an agenda to promote harmonious relationship and peace within Benue State. Benue State, like other states, it was agreed here, is the beneficiary of the current administration with hundreds of billions of naira allocated to it as monthly allocation and other interventions.
To fight insecurity in any part of the nation is a joint effort among the three tiers of government, federal, state, and local governments, of which President Buhari regularly assigns various and forces formations to help Benue in the exercise.
The stakeholders also demanded for true accountability of Governor Ortom's led government in Benue State and urged him to engage all tiers of government to enable him regain control of the state.
We demand that the governor renders account of the arbitrary 800 million monthly deductions he appropriates to himself as security votes, as well as the over 200 million monthly deduction he makes from the local government joint account. We invite the EFCCs to step into the matter and help the Benue people.
They commended the Buhari administration for embarking on infrastructural projects of more than 270 billion naira in Benue State. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
A look at information technology in its efforts to ensure that Nigeria benefits maximally from global digital economy. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, says it is set to commence the process of repealing and reenacting NITDA Act 2007. A statement by the agency's head, Corporate Affairs and External Relations, Hadiza Umar, indicates that the need to repeal the existing act became necessary with the launch of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, which effectively replaced the Nigerian National IT Policy 2000, stressing that the agency's current establishment law is outdated and cannot meet the needs and requirements for supporting a digital economy. The review of the NITDA Act 2007, the statement says, will address contemporary digital issues, revamp Nigeria's economy, build trust and protect the rights and interests of players in the ecosystem, among other benefits, while noting that the proposed bill will be presented to the National Assembly as an executive bill. The agency assures information technology sector stakeholders, as well as the general public, that the process will be transparent and subjected to comprehensive stakeholder engagements, as it also solicits the support of Nigerians towards the successful passage of the bill and eventual signing into law, the statement added. All right, let's bring you Update on COVID-19. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 362 additional new COVID-19 infections in 14 states and the FCT. Now, the latest figures released by NCDC shows that Lagos is still maintaining the top spot with 200 new cases, followed by Oyo with 33, Kwara 30, Akwa Ibom 24, Ogun 17, Delta and Ekiti has 15 new cases each, while Plateau and Rivers has 7 cases each. FCT recorded 5 new cases, as Anambra and Edo both has 3 new cases, leaving Bayelsa, Kaduna and Kano states with 1 case each. With this, Nigeria now has a total of 191,345 confirmed cases, out of which 178,283 were treated and discharged, while 2,454 have died of the virus.